speaker. And our next speaker is Antonietta Torciello. I hope I've said that correctly, Antonietta.
Hi, correct.
She's a virtual artist. She's a painter, textile designer, and arts educator, and she works in East London. She's been exhibiting artwork professionally since 2010 and has shown her work both in the UK and internationally in Germany and Italy. So welcome, Antonietta, and over to you.
Hi, thank you for having me on here today. I'm so grateful to be on here with such amazing contributors. Yes, so my name's Antonietta. I've been an artist for about over 10 years now. It feels a lot longer than that, but yes, so my journey in art began, I would say, when I was in secondary school. I initially wanted to be a fashion designer, so that was my dream. And then, sorry, someone just said my camera is off. Can everyone see me?
Yes, we can see you.
My camera on?
Yeah,
okay.
we can see you.
Okay, good. Yeah. So yes, so when I was in secondary school, I was really interested in fashion. That was kind of what I wanted to do. So I had a really supportive art teacher at the time, which I think really helped push me. So when I got to college, I studied fashion naturally, because that was what I was into. However, when I got onto the course, I started to quickly notice that I wasn't so interested in creating pieces of clothing, whereas I was more interested in the patterns that were on the clothing, and I was fascinated in terms of how do you create these amazing patterns and how are they transferred onto the clothing, and that was what I really found fascinating and interesting. So I then began to the funny story is that one of my tutors actually was running a textiles business at the time, and during her spare time, lunchtime, and when she wasn't teaching, she would be in the print room printing fabrics. And I always used to go into the print room and ask her, like, what are you doing, and like, how are you transferring the images onto the fabrics? And then she introduced me to screen printing. And I just loved the whole process from start to finish. So how I was able to create my designs through sketches, painting, and all the mediums that I loved using, and then exposing them onto screens or cutting them into like a lino block and then printing them onto the fabrics. So I loved the whole process from start to finish. And yeah, that was something that I decided that I was more interested in rather than making clothes. I'm not sure why. I think it was partly to do with the fact that I didn't have the patience with the bobbin on the sewing machine. But yeah, so I just loved printmaking from that day onwards, basically, when I started visiting my tutor and just watching how she worked. And then I started using up my lunch times to actually create my own textile designs. Whereas other people were focusing more on the construction side, I then collaborated with some of the other students on my course, and then I was able to create designs and fabric patterns that went onto their clothing. So I was able to use that skill that I learned to collaborate with others as well. And then I decided to go on to college again after that course and study art and design, because I was still fascinated with pattern, but I didn't feel like I wanted to go to university yet, because I still wanted to explore a lot more mediums, so a lot more different materials to create my art. So the second college I went to was Waltham Forest College, which is not far from me. And I studied art and design. It was an intensive course, so it was a 2-year course, which was put into 1 year. So yeah, you could imagine how hectic the course was. But I really enjoyed learning about a lot of different ways of working, especially photography. So I learned how to expose like photographic images in the darkroom, which I didn't think I would ever learn to do that. And we went on a lot of trips as well. I think that as Black children and in education, it's very important to be able to access things like going on trips, to be out of your environment and what you're used to kind of experience more of like a rounded creative kind of experience, and be able to kind of, yeah, that's kind of how that's influenced a lot in my work. And yeah, so moving on to after college, I went to university. So my first year experience of university was in Maidstone in Kent, and I was studying illustration at University for the Creative Arts. And I found the area to be very racist, and that was partly the reason I had to leave the course after 1 year, which was a shame. But however, it worked out for me in the end. But it's just that I just found it really difficult. Not just about the area that it was; it's more the way that my artwork was being judged in the course. Because on the course you have to do this thing called critiques, where the whole class, so one student go up at a time and talk about their artwork and the work that they've been doing for the project. And for some reason, every time I went up, and I was the only Black person in the whole class, everyone had something negative to say about my work, but it was never constructive. So I just found it really irritating. And yeah, I just got fed up with it, really, because I felt like I was fighting a losing battle. You know, and you're trying to stick up for yourself, but it's just like, it's never enough. So yeah, so after that, I decided to move to Epsom campus, same university, but I moved to study fashion imaging, which was a course I didn't know existed, but I was able to specialise in printed textiles, and that was my passion anyway. So I loved the course. You got to experience a lot of different things on the course. I would say the course was very fashion centered, and I was trying to move towards more of the artistic side and expression, but I found a way to work anyway in the course, and yeah, I kind of developed myself more towards the arts. So I started that course in 2009, and then in 2010 I started exhibiting my artwork. So I think the first exhibition I did was a group exhibition at UCL, so University College London, and that was with another artist that I know called Zita Holborn. She's an activist as well, Black activist, and that was a great opportunity for me to show my work, and it kind of spurred me on to just kept exhibiting my work. So if you get a chance, go onto my website. I've got my CV and my bio on there, and it's got a list of all the exhibitions that I've done. Yeah, so after that, I just kept exhibiting. I've exhibited my artwork at many different places. I've exhibited at the Oxo Tower. I've exhibited at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. I've also exhibited my artwork at banking headquarters, so KPMG and Credit Suisse and Canary Wharf. What else have I done? I've just done so much with my work. But what I wanted to really talk about here is talking about how my experiences in education is kind of like the driving force for how I motivate young people, especially Black young children, to become artists and be creative. So while I was at university, towards the end of my course, I found out I was dyslexic, and this was after a lot of throughout my education. I always struggled with reading and a little bit with writing, but it's mainly reading and sometimes mixing up numbers, so they might look like they're the other way around, or when I read something, the words look like they're moving around on the page. So that's always been a bit of a struggle for me. But yeah, I found out I was dyslexic, and it was like kind of like, wow, I think I was like 23. So I was like, I can't believe I actually got through all of this education with a degree, and I'm just finding this out now. So I was like, in my head, I was just on a mission. I was like, I'm not gonna, let other children go through this. I'm gonna support as many Black children as I can, because education itself is hard. And like, when you're a Black child in education, I feel like you have to fight for yourself, especially with your ideas. It can be hard, and the thing is, it's not your responsibility to fight because you're a child. You should be given the room to be expressive, and I feel like a lot of Black children don't get that. So I decided that after university I was gonna think of doing a lot of projects in my local community, where I would begin sharing my skills and delivering art workshops to young people. But there wasn't really any opportunities to do that. So what I did was I thought of a project, and it became something called the Forest Gate Arts Trail. And so how that started was I approached the council with my idea for this large scale project. They weren't too keen on it because they couldn't really see the benefit in it at the time. So I said, well, let's try and get some artists together and then create like a steering committee. And then we did that. That was a lot of work. Obviously organising everything. We had a lot of businesses involved, a lot of community venues. So basically it was like an arts trail. So you go around to different venues and you have a map, and it mentions all the businesses that are displaying artwork by other people. And yeah, so my main goal with that was to encourage people who were not, let's say, traditional artists to display their work, because I think that sometimes the art world is a bit pretentious, and anyone could basically call themselves an artist. I'm an artist myself and I'm saying that, but there are a lot of people who kind of put judgment on others because maybe they might not their artwork's not looking as professional as theirs, or their CV's not as long as theirs. So I thought, let's do this arts trail, and I wanted to get as many schools involved, as many unprofessional or new emerging people who wouldn't even call themselves an artist involved. And yeah, it was a success. So in the first year, I think there was about 90 artists that were involved. I also got a lot of more professional artists as well to mentor the younger artists. And then basically what happened was a lot more, the area became gentrified. A lot more people started moving into the area that was saying that they wanted to be involved in the arts trail. The council took it over, and basically the people that had moved into the area kind of pushed me out of the project. So that was it. So I didn't let that stop me, because I'm that type of person that I just feel like when things go bad, it's more like it's their loss. So I thought, what other ways can I impact people, young Black people, because that's always in the forefront of my mind. Like, I'm just like tunnel vision. I just want to help people. So I kept going with that. Then I decided to apply for funding to deliver art projects, because I was like, I'm not going to get the help where I thought I was. So now I'm going to apply for funding. And obviously, being dyslexic, I tried to apply. I was looking at applying for Arts Council funding, but I found that to be, at the time, it's a lot easier now. By the time, the form was really lengthy and I found it difficult to understand. So I applied for some community grants. I managed to do some workshops in my local community and at my studio. And then afterwards, I began volunteering as a print and learning facilitator at William Morris Gallery in Walthamstow. A little while after that, I think they must have seen that I was like a good fit for how I worked with the young people, how I delivered the projects there. So I became, I was actually the first Black and youngest learning facilitator to ever work at the Education Centre in the William Morris Gallery. So I was there for about 2 years, working with a lot of school groups visiting, which was really great. And I just loved it because I'm really into history of arts and fabrics. So that was kind of perfect for me. And I was able to kind of deliver the work that I wanted to do, but it was more like, it was mainly primary school children, and that's the age I love to work with. So yeah, but how I've moved on now, I've continued.
Have about 1 more minute, please.
Oh my gosh, already?
Yeah.
Okay, so
doing a great job.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
So I moved on to, I was at Central Parade, which is in Walthamstow, which is an incubator for businesses. And that was where I did a collaboration with an artist called Fungai Marima. She's a Zimbabwean artist. And we set up an art collective called Nzinga Project. So I'll put that in the information in the chat. And we basically deliver art workshops to community. We apply for funding to do projects, and we do exhibitions and stuff. And so about my business now. So I started my textiles business in 2012, and it's kind of developed from there. So I've done that alongside my exhibitions and art. And now I create artwork, greeting cards. I do hand printed homeware products, so cushions, lampshades, tea towels. I do hand painted pottery. I've got a lot of Christmas products as well at the moment. So if you want to check out my website, just doing everything really. But yeah, I just wanted to end with that. If you know any, or if you have any children in your family, or if you know any Black children who are creative, please push them, and please kind of make sure they keep going with it, because it's really important. I think, especially with what's going on in society right now, art is always seen as a luxury for Black people, and it shouldn't be that way. So I just feel like art should be a part of everything that we do, because it always has been, and our art has influenced the world since the world began. So yeah, just encourage the children to be creative, and if you need any advice, just contact me. I'm on Instagram, Torsiello Artist, and Twitter, same, Torsiello Artist. So that's it. That's me.
Great. Thank you very much, Antonietta, for giving us your story. It's been brilliant, really, and I know everybody's been impressed and inspired by what you had to say. So thank you. And also, of course, we're full of admiration, and you work a lot with young people and young children, so that's great. That's where we need to start. And you said one thing, I hope everyone takes this away with them, where you said, I've really enjoyed learning about many different ways of working within your art you were talking about. Mm-hmm. And really the great thing about was actually using the word enjoyed, because just the other day I put up something on Facebook to say, instead of, apart from just reaching your goal, have you really enjoyed the journey in getting there? And so it's really important, don't you think, that everyone enjoys what they're doing? They'll be difficult at times, but obviously enjoy the journey as well as reaching your goal. So thank you very much for sharing.